Welcome back to the Champ Outdoors. This week we're going to be doing a little bit of property maintenance. We're going to be cutting some kind of pasture ground, getting ready for deer season. Big reason why I'll kind of go through why we're doing it and how as we get going. So we'll be in the tractor today. So let's get to it. So as we're driving here, one thing that does help pass the time a lot while I'm doing stuff like this is I tend to like to have basically story videos playing on YouTube. Some of the channels I really like are the VinWiki channels, because again, they have great visuals, don't get me wrong, but there's something I can put in and play almost like a podcast. As far as outdoors, I tend to kind of gravitate towards the Fishing After Dark with Lojo and AO Fishing. They put out a pretty good product, and you know, are always fun to hearing those two together. Alright, so we're now actually getting started on the property we're mowing. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to kind of go around the outline and the perimeter of this smaller section. Then I'll lay it off to where I'm going to try to be as efficient as possible as I'm cutting it. So there's ditches and stuff like that. My goal is to have to go over those ditches as few times as possible, so typically I'll lay everything off in line with those. Here we've got one right in front of the tractor that we're going to turn in front of. And because since this is a smaller patch that we're doing, I'm going a little slower because I can get a little bit better cut on it. One of the other things I'm trying to do while I do this is not only knock down the grass and all, but I also want to try to kill any saplings and things like that that are starting to grow up. It's just a good time to kind of do a little bit of management with that. Because this property is technically my backyard, so I don't want it full of thorn trees. But the big reason why I'm doing this right before deer season really kind of starts getting into effect. It's technically open here in Missouri. We have archery season's been open for a few days now. But the big reason why I'm doing this at the start of deer season is it'll make the travel pass for the deer that much easier. getting ready to lay off the next field here. What I'm going to try to do is just kind of straddle. There's a waterway here, and I'm going to try to straddle it, and so that way I'm not going over it any more than I have to. So if I can only make one pass over it, that'd be ideal. And we'll lay off this other small patch to the left and get to work on it. Kind of tell from the way the tractor's rocking, it's a pretty good little dip there. Now we're going to come up by the apple trees and things like that I've planted for, and have mowed around with just a smaller lawnmower. Big reason for that is to make it easier for when I came in and did this. Because as you can tell, our apple trees and that are still fairly, if you can see them, they're still fairly young and not producing yet. They're only a year or two old. bucket to kind of push this tree out of the way back into the brush pile on one side or the other. I've got it kind of pushed into the woods where I want it. Now I'm just trying to use my bucket to move it a little bit more. Welcome back to the Back Porch Breakdown. So as you can see today, we just mowed some pasture, getting it ready for deer season. Again, thought behind that is it lets the deer move through the pasture a little easier, so I'll be able to get a little bit better inventory of what I've got coming through without having to rely on cameras and catching them on camera. The other thing is, once hunting pressure and that kind of kicks in, the deer will start moving into the woods a little bit more, and that I've got a narrow patch of woods where my stand is by where we mowed today, and that's going to create a natural funnel for them. And that's kind of the thought process behind doing this. Also, everything was starting to seed out, so it kind of knocks all the seed loose for next year to help reseed everything and, keep the system going. But as always, hope you enjoyed today. Please like, comment, subscribe, and gonna be starting up with a little bit. Like I said, this is kind of the start of the beginning of the change up from fishing to fall and winter hunting and all. But hope you enjoyed it. I'll probably do a few more videos like this. But yeah, again, we're trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of September, so please feel free to subscribe. It doesn't cost you a thing, and you can always unsubscribe later. If we hit that 100 subscriber mark by the end of this month, we'll be doing a giveaway with some limited merch. Yeah, and with that, I'll catch you next week.